Voters in Arlington will be asked to pass muster on both a school district budget and one for the town when they head for the polls on Tuesday, March 1st, for town meeting day. But before then, they will also get to vote on the proposed town budget of slightly under $1.83 million, which compares to one of about $1.7 million last year. This will be discussed and voted upon during an informational meeting held Monday, February 28th, at the Arlington Memorial High School gym. The remaining 40 articles in the town warning, most of them familiar ones, which call for various sums to be spent on reserve funds for the town's highway department, or fire department, rescue squad, or other initiatives, like sidewalk maintenance or removal of diseased and hazardous trees, will be decided by Australian ballot during voting on March 1st. The voting will also take place at the high school gym from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Town Administrator Nick Zayas walked us through the highlights of the proposed town budget.
We expect a net change in property taxes of about 7%, and that represents about $100,000 increase from the previous year in taxes, and which is roughly in line with the rate of inflation. One matter that the board expressed very clearly was protecting the town's purchasing power right now in a time where we don't want to have to delay investments in the community because of inflation alone. So the benchmark that we had was keeping the tax rate in line with inflation. So I will note that for the most part, this was a very run-of-the-mill budget, and the warning likewise reflects that. That said, there are 3 articles that were petitioned by voters and will be addressed in the vote by Australian ballot at town meeting, and those are the 3 articles that relate to the town's carbon emissions, one of which is about setting a goal, one of which is setting up a sinking fund, and one of which is funding the sinking fund with a $50,000 contribution from the taxpayers. Those articles were petitioned by the voters, and we certainly look forward to seeing what the will of the voters being expressed through the votes on those 3 articles. There are no proposals to change the structure of government, and Arlington voters over the last couple of years have experienced a number of articles about that, creating my own position, making adjustments to the auditor office and last year, and which successfully passed, and another article that did not successfully pass on those matters. The board has expressed a happiness with the structure of the government as it currently sees it being, and until our situation changes with regard to volunteerism or availability of staff, we certainly do not expect to be offering structure of government articles. At least, certainly not this year. We hope not in future years until a matter presents itself as necessary.
Voters will also decide 2 contested races for the 5-person Arlington Select Board. Matthew Bukowski is stepping down after a single 3-year term, and James Postian and Vincent Thompson have filed papers for election to the seat. Incumbent Select Board member Cynthia Browning is also seeking another term, and she's being opposed by newcomer Joe Jervis. Meanwhile, over on the school district side, voters will also hear from the school board about a proposed budget of more than $7.1 million, which, if adopted, would raise spending by slightly under 4%, but would also lower property tax rates. The school budget will also be decided by Australian ballot voting on March 1st. The Arlington and Sandgate school districts, along with their supervisory union, the Battenkill Valley Supervisory Union, were merged last year into the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union. We asked William Basic, the former superintendent of the now-dissolved BVSU, who's now serving as an assistant superintendent in the SVSU, to help facilitate the merger of Arlington and Sandgate into the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union, to give us an overview of what's in the proposed Arlington school budget.
I think we've done a really good job over the last 5 or 6 years of really coming in with some steady numbers. We're in a very lucky position. We kind of know what we need in Arlington. We have really good programming that we've already funded. So now it's just kind of going year to year, making sure we can do that. This will be the fourth year in a row of a tax decrease to the town, which is nice. I mean, certainly not a massive tax decrease, but anytime you get a property tax decrease, that's something that taxpayers can certainly be happy about, especially when we know that it's going into a quality school. So it's not that we're cutting programs to achieve those tax decreases. We've also built up a pretty healthy surplus over the last 4 or 5 years. So this year they'll see, when they do go to the town vote on March 1st, that there's going to be a series of sinking funds that we'd like to replenish, if you will. We're going to be looking to put over about $200,000 into various funds that certainly are listed, things like transportation, school building maintenance, technology, and the rest of those are there. And that's a good way to give yourself financial security down the road in case something goes poorly with your HVAC, or your bus breaks down, you're covered, so you don't have to go right back to the taxpayers. So for that, we're looking very good. The only thing that was a little controversial this year that we certainly received feedback from was that we did join with the SVSU. The BVSU is now gone. So there will be some assessments coming from them, and they did turn out to be higher than in years past, which was a little disappointing because we were hoping that when we joined the SVSU that we would receive some financial benefit to it. That does not appear that will happen. They're not huge. They're within, there's certainly stuff that won't bankrupt, but it's, we're still kind of putting final numbers on them, but they're probably somewhere between 200 and 350,000, kind of going back and forth. And the positions we've eliminated here and just trying to figure that out. And, I would say that a pretty fair number is around $200,000 extra that it actually costs to join the SVSU. So that was disappointing. We do not foresee savings in the future. I think that that part of the merger did not work out. What we are hopefully looking forward to, the Act 46 did have two goals. One was to create financial efficiencies. That is not going to occur. And the second was to create more learning opportunities for students. So that one is still remains to be seen. So we haven't really gotten into the curriculum side or a sharing of programming with the SVSU. So, hopefully we will find some increased opportunities for students. So we can say the merger was a success.
The annual school district meeting will start at 6:30 p.m. on February 28th in the Arlington Memorial High School gym. The meeting will be largely informational. 2 school board positions will also be decided on March 1st during Australian ballot voting. Newcomer Luke Hall is hoping to unseat incumbent school board member Nicole Whalen for a 3-year position, and Jessica Elwell-Bacciocchi is hoping to replace current school board member Robert Zink, who opted not to run for re-election to the 2-year position. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.